Stockman with District Number 1 legislators of Cattaraugus County.
Thank you, Commander McAlpine. Before I speak to you today, I'd just like to take a brief moment to thank all of you who worked so hard in preparation for this day. To the Butcher family for all the weeding and planting of flowers they've done around our memorial stone here in the park, as well as other places in the park. To Mayor Karen Strickland and her husband Dan for always being faithful for every patriotic holiday throughout the year, for the buntings in the gazebo. I want to thank those who put up the flags along our streets to honor this day. I want to thank all of the members of the Legion and the VFW and its auxiliary and our scout troops and their affiliates who take the time out from the busy day to partake in the parade. And finally, I want to thank all of you for feeling that Memorial Day is important enough to take time from your busy schedule to attend this Memorial Day observance. On this Memorial Day 2011, we take leave of our hectic daily lives to reflect on the true meaning of the day. It is a somber time to remember, honor, and pay tribute to all the brave men and women of our armed forces who made the ultimate sacrifice defending the liberties we tend to take for granted. It is also a time to recognize and appreciate all the veterans who are still with us, be they participating in this or other ceremonies across the nation, or on active duty at home or abroad. Memorial Day brings us many symbols and traditions. In just a few minutes, we will observe one of those traditions, taps. Of all the military bugle calls, none is so easily recognized or more apt to render emotion than the call taps. The melody is both eloquent and haunting, and the history of its origin is interesting and somewhat clouded in controversy. In the British Army, a similar call known as last post has been sounded over soldiers' graves since 1885, but the use of taps is unique with the United States military since the call is sounded at funerals, wreath laying, and memorial services. Taps began as a revision to the signal for extinguished lights or lights out at the end of the day. Up until the Civil War, the infantry call for extinguished lights was the one set down in Silas Casey's Tactics, which had been borrowed from the French. Taps is a musical piece sounded by the United States military nightly to indicate that it is lights out. The tune is also sometimes known as Butterfield's Lullaby, and our Boy and Girl Scout troops will refer to it as Day is Done. It is also played during flag ceremonies and funerals, generally on bugle or trumpet. The tune is actually a variation of an earlier bugle call known as Scott Tattoo, which was used in the United States from 1835 to 1860. The present form of taps is believed to have been arranged by the Union Army Brigadier General Daniel Adams Butterfield, an American Civil War general who commanded the 3rd Brigade of the 1st Division of the 5th Army Corps of the Army of the Potomac. The new version of taps replaced the French bugle call used to signal lights out. Butterfield's bugler, Oliver W. Norton of Erie, Pennsylvania, was the first to sound this new call. Within months, taps was used by both Union and Confederate forces. It was officially recognized by the United States Army in 1874. The first use of taps at a funeral occurred during the Peninsular Campaign in Virginia. Captain John C. Tidball of Battery A, 2nd Artillery, ordered it played for the burial of a cannoneer killed in action. Since the enemy was close, he worried that the traditional 3 volleys would renew fighting. Modern-day ceremonies, including the one we're going to witness today, typically include 3 volleys followed by taps. In addition to its use at military funerals and commemorative occasions, taps is sounded nightly in military installations at non-deployed locations to indicate it is lights out. When taps is sounded, it is customary for serving members of the military or veterans to salute. The corresponding gesture for civilians is to place the right hand over the heart. Many scouting and guiding groups around the world sing the second verse of taps, "Day is Done," at the close of a camp or campfire. It is often referred to as vespers, which means evening prayer. Scouts in encampment may also have the unit's bugler sound taps once the rest of the unit has turned in to signify that the day's activities have concluded and that silence is expected in the camp. There are many lyrical adaptations to taps, and there is no official version. I leave you today with one written by Horace Lorenzo Trim. It reads, "Fading light, dim the sight, and a star gems the sky, gleaming bright. From afar drawing nigh falls the night. Day is done, gone the sun, from the lakes, from the hills, from the skies. All is well, safely rest, God is nigh. Then good night, peaceful night, till the light of dawn shineth bright. God is near, do not fear, friend, good night." Thank you.
Thank you, Paula. Our chaplain will now lead us in a memorial prayer.
Thank you, Gary. It is an honor and a privilege for me today to be here, to be part of these Memorial Day observances. Memorial Day is very special to me. My entire family, grandfathers, uncles, my father-in-law, 3 brothers-in-law, have served in the military in every war since World War I. My father, a Korean veteran, served as the bugler for the French American Legion Post 1168 for over 40 years. Never missed a Memorial Day, never missed a military funeral. So I grew up with Memorial Day being a very, very important day. It wasn't a day for camping, it wasn't a day for swimming, it was a day where you showed up at the services and you spent the day going through the cemeteries and remembering our fallen veterans. I want to talk to you today about one of the symbols of Memorial Day, and that is the poppy. I'll tell you the story of the poppy. In the United States, Memorial Day is observed on the last Monday of May to honor military personnel who have died while serving their country. Originally called Decoration Day, this holiday was established shortly after the Civil War as a time to place flowers on the graves of those fallen. This day was initially celebrated on May 30th, as it was thought that on this day flowers would be blooming throughout the country. Flowers continue to be an important part of this national holiday, and many veterans will wear poppy flowers to commemorate the day. In fact, Memorial Day is sometimes known as Poppy Day. The origins of Poppy Day began with a poem written by a Canadian Army colonel during the First World War. Colonel John McCrae's In Flanders Fields was first published in December 1915 in a British magazine called Punch. The poem expressed a colonel's grief over the many soldiers who died on the Flanders battlefields, which were located in an area between western Belgium and northern France. In the poem, the colonel describes how poppies grow among the rows and rows of graves. In Flanders fields left a strong impression on two women, Anna Guerin in France and Moina Michael in the United States in the state of Georgia. These two women worked hard to sell artificial poppies in order to help children left as orphans or people made impoverished by World War I. In 1922, Moina Michael thought the flowers should be used as a symbol of remembrance of the war. She turned to the Veterans of Foreign Wars, and we know it as the VFW, who helped make the Memorial Day poppy official. Although poppies are used to honor both Veterans Day and Memorial Day, it is traditionally more popular on Memorial Day. In the 1920s, there weren't enough artificial poppies to go around, so in 1924, a poppy factory was created in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Unemployed and disabled veterans were employed to create the flowers, thus providing them with a practical way to support themselves. Today, veterans continue to create these little artificial flowers for Poppy Day, primarily at Department of Veterans Affairs medical facilities and veteran homes. These flowers are then distributed by veteran service organizations like our local VFW and our local Legion Post throughout the nation. Donations received for these flowers help veterans, as well as widows, widowers, and orphans left behind by those who fell. The Memorial Day poppy itself serves as a way to honor those who died serving their country. Poppy cans can be found in most Legion posts, most VFW posts, and even in some retail stores. I am proud to say that I have been a member of the American Legion. Next year I will celebrate 40 years. I have been Poppy chairman many times over for the Poppy can drive. They don't charge a fee, a set fee for the poppies. They are by donation. I encourage you to visit your post, to look for the poppy cans around Memorial Day time, and do your part to help our disabled veterans. And without further ado, I'd like to ask the representatives who are not flag bearers of Boy Scout Troop 257 and Cub Scout Pack 257 to please come forward. I made a personal donation at a Legion post. I took all the poppies they had, and what I would like the boys to do is, with the help of their Scoutmaster and Cubmaster, distribute a poppy to each person as far as they'll go today. Thank you. Ready, set,
so much, everybody. Thank you.
Tim's version is.
We're going back to 1927 for this next one. It's Ain't She Sweet?
Thank you.